I'll start with a huge congratulations to Tracy Fuchs in women's field hockey, bringing home another national championship. Incredible opportunity to celebrate Tracy's program and all those young ladies that did such an amazing job this season. Sundays are long days for all football coaches. It was really neat to be a part of welcoming that group back to Evanston last night. I think one of the a lot of unique things, incredible things about this place, but to have a group of coaches, head coaches, our athletic director, our band, all a part of what welcoming Tracy and her team back last night was really special. National champs, excited for Tracy and her team. Also excited for our team to bounce back after a tough afternoon on Saturday. The product we put on the field is not us. We have to be better. We have to make sure that we send this team, this group, out the right way and perform at a much higher level. And we're going to need to against a very good Illinois team. Very well-rounded, playing all three phases. Coach Bielema has been doing it for a long time at a really high level. Does a great job of preparing his team and building his roster. That clearly shows up as you watch Illinois throughout the course of the year. Rivalry game, playing for the hat. There's a lot on the line. Most important part is making sure that in our last guaranteed opportunity together that we send this group out the right way and put a performance together that we're all really proud of.
After two tough losses, to Michigan and Ohio State by wide margins, what changes do you think you can make to get back to a competitive point for what could be the final game of the season?
Yeah, I think it's really in all areas. And at the end of the day, I mean, when you look at a performance like we experienced on Saturday, you can't point at the offense or the defense or special teams. I mean, it was all encompassing, right? So I mean, the only place to point is at me, and how do we rebound? How do we respond? A lot of it comes down to playing complementary football. We've talked about that before, but I think where you saw some things spiral were an inability to get off the field on third down defensively, not allowing the offense more opportunities to get into rhythm. When you only have I think 48 gradable snaps on the offense side of the ball, that's not a recipe for a good day, and defensively we didn't help our offense out with that. And as a team, I think our group, I'm very appreciative of our group in terms of the way that they've responded, after a tough week, and the way that they respond and the way that they practice. Our group has proven to have the ability to do that after a couple of tough weeks and find a way against Purdue. Where we need to improve is responding in game. We did a good job of responding there in the second quarter. We get Michigan down to a 10-6 game, and have a 2-minute drive by Michigan that takes us into half with the momentum going in the wrong direction. And at that point, we were reeling. Similar situation with Ohio State. A couple, instances of bad snaps before you know it, the momentum's not on our side, and we need to do a better job. And we talked about it this morning of just focusing on what we can control, and that's the next play. And that's cliche, but we got a group of guys that are so prideful, care so much, get all wrapped up in the result, that we can at times be worried about 3 plays down the road or still upset about a poor play that we had 4 snaps prior. And that's where we need to improve. Need to control the football better, need to get off the field on third down, and put ourselves in a situation where we're playing cap football, and that's winning games in the fourth quarter.
Coach, you've walked past the hat every day for this year. How important is it that, I know it's the last game saying these seniors out, but to defend the hat and keep it here in Evanston for another year?
It's huge. I mean, it's one of the unique special parts about college football is rivalry games, especially in state. playing for a trophy that, is on the field in the fourth quarter. I mean, you're truly playing for a trophy that, when you earn it, you get to go get it with your team and celebrate with your team. We cross paths with Illinois in recruiting frequently. I think Coach Bielema does a great job. But that was a big win for us last year for a lot of reasons. To have the hat back in our facility is something we take a great deal of pride in. Having bragging rights in state for a full calendar year is something we take a great deal of pride in. And, this is going to present a great challenge. Illinois is playing really well right now. But we got a chance to keep the hat, win our in-state rivalry game, and send this group of seniors out the right way. There's plenty of motivation here, for sure.
Dave first.
On that note, on the seniors, you've only been with them for 2 years. What has this group meant to you, and what will Saturday mean to you?
Yeah, a lot. And those words don't do it justice, Dave. But I said it last year. After getting named permanent head coach here at Northwestern, the reason that I'm in this position and our family has an opportunity to lead this program is a direct result of the young men that make up this football team. And this group of seniors was a critical piece in rallying in some really difficult circumstances around one another to do something really special. And, I just think of guys like, Xander Mueller and Bryce Kurtz, and I could just go on and on and on. I mean, Andrew Braun decides that he wants to be Cam Porter for Halloween this year. And I told Cam this, Andrew didn't do that just because Cam's a really good football player. Like, the Braun boys are really observant. Like, those two, watch the way that our guys move and operate. And Andrew Braun sees things in Cam Porter that he aspires to be in terms of just great teammate, work ethic, the ultimate competitor, and again, that's, we talk about our non-negotiables, about preparing our young men for life and building the brotherhood. That's where college football, when you're doing it right, has the ability to stick with you the rest of your life. It's those relationships that are shared within this team and with our coaching staff. Senior day is always an emotional day, and we want to make sure that we send those guys out the right way.
So, Coach, to what extent is this program, with this being the last guaranteed game of the year, playing for its veteran leadership and the seniors?
Yeah, at the end of the day, every decision you make has to be based on what puts our team in the best situation to be successful on game day and come out with a win. Those decisions will always be based on that in terms of the way that we look out for one another and support one another. I mean, we'll always put people first, but we're playing to win. But dang, we're playing to win because we want to make sure that this group of seniors, walks out, walks back into the locker room potentially the last time, having an opportunity to experience a win with their teammates. And I'm excited for this group to do that. You had a group of guys in this room earlier today that are not hanging their heads. They're certainly edgy and angry and not pleased with the way that we played Saturday. But you got a group of guys that are hungry to get back at it.
Coach, how are you preparing to try to contain a deep threat like Pat Bryant?
Yeah, good player, and Pat's surrounded by a talented wide receiving core, some good tight ends, good backs, a quarterback that's playing at a really high level, veteran offensive line. Where they've done a great job offensively is the balance in their attack and their ability to create explosive opportunities, not just in the run game, not just in the pass game, but in the RPO. And I think that's something that we have to be conscious, as always, against RPO teams, but just be aware of in our efforts to control the run game. What are we exposing ourselves to in RPO? Been really impressed the way that this offense is not only structured, but the way that they've operated and executed in those opportunities.
Coach, go to the other side of the ball now defensively. Is there one thing or one scheme or a player that sticks out that you said, oh boy, look at this?
Yeah, I think Coach Bielema's done a great job of building this entire football team. I mean, there's personnel, really good personnel on both sides of the ball. I think the defensive line and the edges certainly stand out. In the past, traditionally been very much like a bear defense that's going to try and create a bunch of one-on-one matchups. They still have that in their DNA. They're playing a little bit more multiple, a little bit more four-down structure than they have in the past. I think defensively they've done a good job of evolving. Always been really stingy on defense, but are giving you some different looks, especially from a coverage standpoint. I don't want to discredit any other part of their defense, but the thing that will make them go is their defensive front, especially when they get into those bear looks.
Coach, Illinois has found a lot of success in the passing attack lately. 3 games with over 200 passing yards, especially coming off a rough performance from the secondary against Michigan. What do you guys need to do to slow down Luke Altmaier in that passing attack?
Yeah, I think it comes down to things, again, I sound like a broken record, but you have to affect the quarterback. There's things that you got to do pre-snap to affect the quarterback, but post-snap, has to feel pressure, has to feel affected, can't be comfortable. I think the first time you turn on the film on these guys and watch them operate offensively, you notice a talented wide receiving core, downhill backs, well thought out scheme, but a quarterback that is comfortable and processing at a high level. And for us to have success, we're going to have to make him feel uncomfortable.
Coach, Jack Losh is 3-6 as a starter after Michigan. With the season almost complete, how do you evaluate the decision to make a change at quarterback that you made from week 2?
Yeah, I evaluate it. What I'll say is Jack has continued to compete his butt off, has shown times where he's playing at a really high level, and still has a lot of room for growth. You go through a process, you trust the process, you make decisions. Feel very confident that we made the right decision. Excited to continue to, be right next to Jack as he continues to compete and put this team in situations to win games. What I will say is it can be really easy to point out issues at the quarterback position when an offense is not operating at the level that you want it to. That's what makes that position so great is, you get to touch the ball on every play, and there's a lot that comes with, holding that position. But offensive success, that's the beauty of football. It takes all 11 functioning at a high level for offenses to, get the results that you're looking for. It's where it's a little different than basketball. Not that basketball isn't a team game, but football, especially the quarterback position, really requires everyone playing at a high level. And what I'll say is when Jack has had his best performances, there have been guys around him that have really stepped up and made some big-time plays. Bryce Kurtz's, big play, explosive play against Michigan. It's not a perfectly thrown ball, but Jack gives him his chance. Bryce makes an incredible play. Some of the plays we saw against Ohio State, Maryland, it's in this offense, and we got one opportunity, guaranteed opportunity left. I'm excited for that to show up. I think we've seen some improvement in pass protection out of our O-line this season. I'll also say Jack Lausch and his athleticism and savvy and competitiveness have really helped that protection in terms of extending plays or taking off with his feet. So it can be easy to point the finger at the quarterback. I'm very confident we made the right decision, and I'm proud of the way that Jack has competed through all of this. Do we need better results? Absolutely, and it's our job as a coaching staff to put that group in positions to do that.
As a follow-up, you've given late game or backup snaps. Those have gone to Ryan Helinski, kind of in the same stretch. Can you elaborate on why those snaps are going to a 6-year senior rather than to Mike or to Ryan Bowe, who's a true freshman?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into that answer. Not all that I'll share right now, but what I will say is Ryan Helinski's skill set when he's at his best is when he's, in the pocket, using his arm talent, in situations where we've utilized Hilly, whether it be against Purdue or down significantly against Iowa and Michigan. Putting Hilly in a situation, experienced quarterback, played a lot of college football, and put our team in a situation to see what he can do from a drop back pass standpoint.
Coach, nearing the end of the first year with Zach Lujan calling the offense, how would you assess his transition from FCS to FBS?
Yeah, I think Zach's battled, competed, tried to be really solutions based. It's I was in his shoes in some regards last year in that transition. At the end of the day, what we got to continue to evaluate is where we're at from a personnel standpoint versus our competition, and how do we best position our guys to find success on the field. And those are easy things to talk about. They're hard things to deliver on. What I'm proud of is we've had a staff that's stuck together and gone to work and tried to find those solutions. We've had a team that's continued to battle for one another, and that's what the offseason, will provide, is an opportunity to really take a deep breath, take a step back, evaluate everything, and make sure that we position ourselves for a ton of off-field and on-field success moving forward. And just to be honest with you, like in the landscape of college football, that's a process that I have to be mindful of every single day. And it's not just the offense, it's not just the defense, it's not just special teams, it's in how we do everything as a program. It's got to be true to Northwestern values, but the landscape of college football is getting flipped on its head. This House settlement goes through in April. Like it's a totally different ballgame. How do we stay true to Northwestern values? How do we continue to really value a world-class education, an amazing experience, and finding ways to win Big Ten championships? And not that the structure prior was wrong, but the game is changing. So, we have to evaluate everything. And we all have to check our egos at the door and say what positions the program for success moving forward while delivering on our non-negotiables. And that ego starts with me. How do I have to operate in this role to position ourselves for best success? So yes, we're evaluating the offense, but the reality is we got to evaluate all of it. And this offseason provides an opportunity to do that and make very strategic, well thought out, wise decisions on how we move forward.
Coach, what did it mean to this group to have Xander not only back this past weekend, but to make that early impact, that interception, and the forced fumble?
It was awesome. I mean, it just, number one, I'm so excited for Xander, to be back on the field as a senior. It was painful to watch him on the sideline because you could just tell he was so antsy to get back out there with his teammates, but had a huge impact. Not only the interception, but the return, the field position, the intentionality of punching that ball out. So glad that he's back, and he'll have to be. We're gonna need him to be at his best on Saturday. Excited to do it one more time with him.
Coach, you've talked a lot this past offseason, the season at the beginning of this year, that you don't want this place to always be in that one-year transfer mode, that you need to find that long-term answer quarterback. Has Jack, Ryanbo, Aiden Gray, what have they shown you that gives you confidence that either they can be those guys to lead this program for the next couple of years, or have you thought about, hey, how do we get out of this mode, even if we have to go back in the portal again this year, but we get out of that mode of where we need to find a new quarterback every year and lose that continuity at that spot?
Yeah, no, I mean that is a great question, a very complex and deep one in terms of how you're actually structured and the way you're doing that. The quarterback position obviously is the most critical, but there's also when you look at the O-line position, when you look at some of the things that this program has navigated with a really unique July and August of 2023, and then putting together a class of 2024 recruiting class under an interim head coach. It presents some unique challenges. We're always evaluating where we potentially have future holes in our roster based on the depth that we have at positions. To answer your question directly, what it comes down to is if our non-negotiable is going to be developing young men over the course of time and trusting that development and building a team of, a majority of the roster that's been here together for 4 or 5 years, well, we can't sacrifice that just to go find the immediate answer in the transfer portal. Because at some point, that either keeps you on that cycle or puts you in a position where you really have some dramatic holes in your roster. And philosophically, the decision that we've made is that, I mean, if you look at our class of 2025, it is a class that is represented in all position groups. There's good depth in it. We're excited about that group. We have the same plan in our class of 2026. We were intentional in the class of 2024 of even getting some late ads like Mo, to make sure that we're developing the roster from the ground up and building team. In the new landscape and what we're looking at, there's also opportunities for us to get creative and strategic about where there is immediate needs on our roster. Like, we have to evaluate, like, where on our roster do we have a sense that we have a two deep that can, like, win 8, 9, 10 games in the Big Ten. And if we don't feel like we have that at a position, we need to address it. And that's something we'll be really active in this offseason, in terms of not saying that the young men in our program can't do it, but just assessing at where they're at in their development to make sure that we position ourselves for a really successful class or 2025 season. What we're guarding against, David, is making sure that we're not, well, because we're going to go get, a transfer here or a transfer there, we're potentially deciding not to take a high school recruit. Well, at some point that's going to come back and bite you. A lot of discussions that we're in, and coming back to our comment earlier, evaluating everything and just assessing how we do it best moving forward while staying true to who we want to be.
Coach, against Michigan, this team fell behind in the first half, and we saw that kind of spiral out of control in the third and fourth quarters. You've talked about playing with a lead before, but how important is it for the team to get out to a quick lead this weekend against Illinois?
Yeah, it's really important. And then I'll back that up by saying I think that's something that we have to show growth and maturity as a program of, if that doesn't happen, how do we respond? Is it panic? Are we starting to press? Do we feel like we need to make the perfect play? Oh my gosh, we're down 11 points. Well, there's no play in football that makes up an 11-point deficit with one play. Like, it's getting back and narrowing the focus of controlling what's right in front of us. But there's no question that this football team plays with more balance, with a little different edge and a different level of confidence when we got a lead. So the plan is to find a way to start fast, and regardless if we start with that lead or not, we're going to have to find a way to take it one play at a time. And against a very good Illinois team, it's going to take a 4-quarter effort for sure.
So, kind of going off of David's question, do you anticipate the team will bring in a transfer at quarterback for next season?
Those are things we'll assess once we get to the offseason. Not something that we're worried about while we're still playing in our regular season.
Last question, David.
Coach, what's your message to Cats fans as this last week approaches? You're maybe a little frustrated with how the season goes. What's just your message to them?
Yeah, I mean, number one, thank you for your support. I've said it before. Proud to be a part of this institution, this program, and part of this fan base. Passionate group. I know the results haven't been what we sought out for this year, but we got one last opportunity to celebrate this group of young men, this group of seniors. We're playing for the hat, in-state rivalry game. We're doing it in Wrigley. In recent history, we have not found a way to win at Wrigley. Like, what a great opportunity! Last game of the season, playing for the hat, in-state rivalry at Wrigley, to send this group of seniors out with a really special memory and come be a part of it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.